On the other side of the fence, as if they were going to arrest us. One of the detectives was pulling his gun out on us. We thought he was going to shoot us. The reason for it was that we were stealing electricity. The person that called them on us is Paul, the same guy that told us to use the electricity. So, needless to say, we weren't very happy. Now, recently we just found out that this guy Paul is something like he's with the American Organization of Petroleum Hydrologists, and he is a crisis manager for AIG. So more or less, what that means is when they want to put the pipelines in, and people are saying don't put the pipelines in, they send him in to discourage us. And he's the president of the Polo Association. And he was in Standing Rock. So when he saw the teepees, he probably thought, they follow me here, So, now, some of the things it's by no means, it's not like Standing Rock at all. You guys, that was really front lines over there. And I'll give it to you guys, I'm going crazy with just this little bit of stuff, that I've been going through. But the neighbors around there, they shoot at us in the nighttime. They come on our property, actually, and they shoot at us. And that property is not that big. The tribe only has 13.9 acres left out of everything that we had. So they come on our property and they shoot at us in the nighttime. One of the neighbors, she has this nice husky dog, and she walks him around, the property, takes pictures of us and watches us through binoculars. And when he uses the bathroom, she picks up his poop in these nice green fluorescent bags and throws it on our driveway. And her neighbor, this man, he's from Belgium, he's come down. This was just after the midwinter ceremony. My chief and I went on Taco Sasne for it. We came back, and one of my elders, his name's Mud Turtle, he was on the land, and I love him to death. He's a storyteller, and he's teaching me the flute now. So I see him, and we're happy, and this guy comes out the woods from the back of his house, goes on our property and walks up. So we walk towards him, ask him, how can we help you? I say, how can we help you? He says, you're on my land. The irony, huh? So I say, no, this is our land here. So I'm not going to use the exact language that he used, but he called me a POS. He said, this is my land, you POS. So I'm like, whoa. I turned to Mud Turtle, my elder, and I said, did you hear what he said? So yeah, I heard him. He turns to my elder. He's 75 years old. He says, you're a POS too, and calls us effing gypsies. And then had the nerve to call the cops on us. He said we were on his trespassing on his property, so the cops came. Now, that's just a brief, very brief, trying to skip over some things. Today, I got a phone call from my chief on my way here, actually, about 4:30. And, well, rewind a little bit. Earlier this morning, we get a phone call from one of the lawyers and says that the individual, Paul, the president of the Polo Projects, wants to trade for our land. So we say no. And that's been happening a lot, actually. The mayor, he's been trying to bribe certain tribal members, with $20,000. The latest was $250,000 for the land. $250,000 for the land, and they'll give us 30 acres of toxic land up the mountain. But we have to give them the $250,000 for that toxic land. All right. And he tried to bribe me, actually. He came and he says, hey, Two Clouds, buddy. And this guy hates me. I kicked him off the land, actually. So he comes, he says, hey, Two Clouds, buddy, I know it's cold out here, it's wet. I can help you with anything you need, anything at all. I'm a powerful guy, I'm the mayor. So I say, well, I'm two clouds, you know? This is my land. So he says, well, take my number down, and if you need anything at all, just let me know. Now, the mayor, his name's Bill LaForette. He owns one of the largest Sunoco gas stations in the town of Mahwah, New Jersey. The irony of that. It seems like they have a personal vendetta against us, huh? So anyhow, Paul went to trade for the land, and of course we say no. So I get a phone call from my chief around 4:30, and he says that at 1:15 they issued a violation on us, against us, because we're building a platform for a yurt, and they're saying it's a permanent structure, which is not it's not permanent at all. You know, it's about a foot or so off the ground. So now that, you know, they're adding more violations and more money and more fines and everything right now. We're up so much in fines. It's madness. And honestly, it's not even really unconstitutional what they're doing to us, to any of us Native people, because President Thomas Jefferson said, put the Indians in so much debt that the only way they could pay it off is to give the land. And you can look that up. So what they're doing is pretty American, you know? So I could ramble on and on and on about that. But before I get off the mic, I want to say a story. I told this story last night, actually, also. It's a very old Lenape story. Well, it's Algonquin, actually. Lenape people were part of the Algonquin race, you could say, which includes the Shawnee, the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, of course the Lenape, the Powhatan, and many others. And this story is as old as our territory of our land here, you know. And they say, our ancestors knew rather, that when Kishalamokwan, the creator, when he created everything, the forest and the rivers and everything, he assigned certain spirits to be with them. Actually, this, what I'm wearing here, he's a Hadoi, a mask, a spirit, and his name is Masingwe. He is the spirit of the forest and of the medicine and of the hunting game, especially the deer. And there's a story that says, in the beginning, he asked the Creator if he could be the guardian of the deer for us, and as long as we keep his remembrance, and as long as we keep his face with us and on our Moawikan, our big house, ceremonial house, that the forest will never go away from our territories, and that we'll always have deer to eat. And you see, we still have the forest, and as all these animals go extinct, we always have the deer. Actually, the population's rising, so I think he kept his promise on. Now, so he's that spirit. Now also of all of the waters, and Sipowakna, the rivers and the streams, there's a spirit. And this spirit is represented by a giant toad. And just how in nature, you know, there's for lack of a better term, you know, there's that duality. We have the sun and the moon, night and day, everything like this. We have what English people will call good and bad. So there's the good spirits, and then there's the bad spirits. This bad spirit is the horned black serpent. Now, the ancestors said that the horned black serpent will fight with the great toad for possession of the waters. And they will fight for a very long time. And the horned serpent will win and kill the toad and begin to take the dominion of the water. But before it could claim all of the water, the thunder beings will come riding on their clouds and shooting arrows of lightning and scare the black snake off, the horned serpent off. Now, we look and we know today that these pipelines, these are black snakes. And they have, without a doubt, began to take over the water. But they haven't taken over all of the water. In our territory, in the mountains of Jersey, just about, 20 minutes from where the camp is, in the woods, in the mountains, we have about 20-something fresh water streams. They're not polluted or anything. The water's so sweet. And actually, Ramapo means sweet water. And that's where the name of the camp comes from, Sweetwater Camp. And the Pilgrim Pipeline, they have their survey markers there. And it's proposed to go through about 15 of these streams. So I believe with all my spirit that we are those arrows of lightning. And we are going to scare away the black snake. I mean, come on. Yeah. It's been being done. Now, they may not want us to believe it because they can't let us know the truth that Exxon has lost so many millions of dollars, you know? Because then it's like, wait, if you're losing so much money, why are you still doing this? So they're going to lie. They're going to tell us that it's going to help us get jobs. It's going to be good for us. But they leave out the fact that this oil is for export. It's not even for domestic use. So how is it going to benefit us anyway? Even if it was for domestic use, it's still ruining the water, you know? And aside from it ruining the water, all of the damage that's being done from fracking it, I could go on and on, you know? But there's hope still. Our ancestors knew that there's hope. And I'll say this also before I go off. I have so much to say. You can just tell me to shut up at any time. We are, in our different languages, you know, we say it different ways, but we are the original people here. In our language, that's what Lenape means. It means the original people. As original people, and as people that have been here through time eternal, we grew up and lived with the earth, with all of the relatives, the flying beings and the plant beings and so on. Just from me being at the camp for this little 7 months, you know, I would sit, when I was by myself, I'd sit and watch the water. And on a nice day, you know, cool winds and everything, you see the water begin to move a lot, you know, big, like, what are they, like the small waves, you know, ripples or whatnot. And whenever I see that, the day after or the following day, it would be a storm. It would just rain heavy. And this would happen so much. And then I would watch when the sun would rise in the east, the water would flow a certain way. And as it was setting, the movement would just change. And then I would also watch how it would rise and it would go down and rise and go down. And I said to myself, whoa, the water really is alive. It's breathing. It tells us how the weather's going to be. We really can learn from the water like our ancestors did, you know? All the things that we know from our ancient teachings, quote unquote ancient, you know, that everyone says, oh, the crazy savages, oh, woods people that don't know anything. In fact, we know everything. Now they don't know this physics and all this stuff. You know, I listen to some of it and it's like, whoa, that's just the old ways, you know? The trees, and I watch the trees they'll make sounds over here. You know the sounds that they make, the trees sometimes? They'll make sounds over here, and then they'll hear sounds from over here. And then it'll be over here again. And I'm like, whoa, they're speaking with each other. Now, maybe I've been in the woods too long. I don't know. That's highly possible. And even the way the animals are with each other, the geese. We have a lot of geese out there, and I don't know, it's just madness. But we really need to get back to our roots as indigenous people, and not only indigenous people to the Americas, but indigenous people to the earth. because it is a fact that we all are indigenous to this earth, no matter where we're from, no matter what tribes they are. And it's also a fact that all of our ancestors had the same exact philosophy. My great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, she was from Ireland, Dublin, and she died when I was about 15. So growing up, you know, I was with her a lot. And she used to tell me stories in Gaelic. She still spoke the language, and she refused Christianity. She kept their traditional religion. And thinking back, it's so similar to the indigenous religions or ways. I don't even like the term religion, but the indigenous ways of our people. We have to get back to that, not only for the survival of Mother Earth, but for our own survival. Yeah, we could still be walking and, you know, breathing and functioning in a sense if we pollute all the waters for a short while. But our humanity won't be here anymore. The thing that makes us human is our connection to the earth. Because as humans, we come from the earth. And just like Lila said earlier, this flesh and bone isn't going to be here forever. And what's going to happen when we die? It's going to go back to the earth. We have to, as people, keep this in mind. Because without it, it's going to be our fault. Essentially, if we don't spread this, you know, and if we don't try to get back to our ways, it's going to be our fault when things go awry. So, I'll shut up now.
No.
I think we all understand how honored we are to hear Two Clouds' voice, which comes of this land, comes from many lands, but definitely comes from this land, and the clarity with which he speaks. And I think your prayer, you know, to walk the way your ancestors walked is definitely being realized. So thank you for making that prayer, which ultimately helps us all. And I personally hate money. I hate money. I hate dealing with it. But I do think that we all are looking for ways to make a difference, a tangible difference. So I wanted to pay $40 to go to my own show. I was wondering if I could borrow your orange hat. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be, I hate when you're in church and they're like, all right, everyone pay. That's not what this is. This is more if you want to, go ahead. You don't have to, but half of it's going to go to their costs of running the camp, and the other half's going to go to the Black Hills Unity Concert, which is focused on getting the Black Hills back to the Lakota. So I'll just pass this around, and
we'll just have Jessica is going to hold it, so you guys can kind of mingle right after you're done.
Okay.
And then if you want to come and drop some money,
the only thing is that some people are leaving.
Yeah, no, because some
okay,
people might have
cool.
to go
Right
to
on.
their...
I also want to add that if you want to work with PayPal or any other form, we can also help facilitate that, because it is, again, it's a deep honor to help host this extraordinary experience. And if it worked for the music and the words and the stories, that's the singing that connects us together. Going to be able to go to the Black Hills Unity Concert, to be able to empower your work on the front lines and all of your work on the front lines. It means the world to us to be able to participate in some small way. So please, if you can contribute in any way to these extraordinary and brave souls who are working every day to make progress, please do so.
Yeah, and one thing is on Facebook, it's called the Sweetwater Prayer Camp. So, you know, if you live in the city and you're a journalist, we need your help.
I have cards also.
He has cards. Dang, got cards and everything. If you are a videographer, if you're a photographer, Two Clouds and his relatives need help to articulate the story and get it out there. Because the cops and the polo club and the, oil company workers can only abuse them like this if they remain isolated. If we put more attention on them, it's a lot harder for them to be fools like that. So the more support we can give would be really great. So, is there anything you'd like to say about like how we can help in other ways, or is that pretty clear?
Support. Come up to the camp. I'll give you my cards and everything else where it has the address. But come up there. We have this show. I'm gonna stand up. My knees hurt. We have to show these people that we're not by ourselves. You know, for a long time, the tribe has been afraid because of the treatment. And a lot of my relatives won't come out, you know. They begin to come out now, slowly but surely. We have 3 here, 2 there, you know. But when the local government sees that we're not alone, when they see that we as indigenous people are coming back, and when they see that the non-natives are coming and supporting us also, they're not going to know what to do. December 9th, this is, I'm sorry. December 9th, they gave us an eviction date of December 9th. And, yeah, last year, December 9th.
Oh, so they wanted you removed, they wanted you removed last December 9th?
So, I made a call. I told my chief, I said, well, if they come and make everybody leave, y'all can leave. I'm not going anywhere. This is the only land we have left, so they can take me in handcuffs, but I'm going to come right back here. So he said he was beginning, you know, to get discouraged. And he said, you know what, you're right. This is our land. We can't let them take this from us. So he said, see how if you can get people here. So I put a call out. Luckily, I know a nice amount of people from Red Warrior. And we had about 300 people there December 9th. So the cops came down the street over the bridge and they saw all of us. They turned around and went. So just your presence there alone is big. Aside from, you know, donations and everything else. And it gets lonely there, you know, camp life. So pretty much it.
I'm sorry. You have a page, a Facebook page.
Facebook, yeah, it's on the card too.
Oh, okay. If you want to say it.
Sweetwater Prayer Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we're already running over quite a bit. I just want to do 2 more songs. How are we doing on time, Jasmine?
8:27.
We're good. It's fine. We're good. Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever feels
Yeah, go
right.
for it.
And
Appreciate
if
that.
anyone needs
Yeah.
to leave, that's
Because
fine.
if
If we're
it's-
honored to have you stay as long as you like. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I do want to.
Because I've been documenting Standing Rock
Yeah.
for 8 months.
Right.
And my question to you is, how come you didn't warn us Paiutes, man? 500 years. You're asking for help now. You know, one of the things I would tell our relatives out there was, if we haven't got it yet, something's wrong. You know, tsunami, use your thoughts, use your brain. We haven't figured it out yet, something's wrong. Okay? What's needed out there is GoPros. What's needed out there is hunting cameras. What's needed out there, if you don't have the manpower, create the manpower. It's an intellectual battle. That's what I've seen. In the first months I was there, I was alone. And I was out there with mercenaries, documenting them. I was out there being harassed by police 60 miles from camp. It's an intellectual battle. If you haven't figured it out yet, that's where we're at right now. You know, and we've got to create this narrative ourselves and not let them create it for us. And that's where we are today. United Nations right there, this is where we need to hear the story. Every day, in the front, in the back, down in the coffee lounge, out on the couch where people are delegating. You got to work it. While you have that indigenous forum right there, you need to get over there and tell the story in 1 minute. You don't always have the luxury to keep us here the whole hour to tell the story. There, you may have 10 seconds and ride up the elevator with somebody. It's an intellectual battle. And if you can't get it down, find somebody to get it down for you. Because like Prolific said, it's the puzzle. We all have to lean on each other. And that's the most important part of this. And we have to train each other and educate each other. We have our allies out there too that don't know. You know, we all can find out what's wrong right now. It's easy. Every one of you can find out what's wrong. But there's so much that's right. And right now we're in a movement where you witnessed prayer take care of it. You witness that spiritual warfare. Stop the cops, stop the National Guard, stop the Highway Patrol, stop the FBI. It's powerful. So you're not helpless at all. You know, none of us are. There's so much we can do, but this is an intellectual battle. Start getting creative and start thinking. You know, we stopped Homeland Security with a salad bowl dish. They were coming around us during the last removal with the helicopter with the sniper hanging out the side. And they came over the top of Sacred Stones. We held up a salad dish bowl, and the helicopter went, and because it kept coming around the camp. And we were documenting everything that they were doing. Out of 7 drones, 4 were taken down. You know, it was fully militarized, pushing our people off of that camp. Fully militarized on our tribal side, our own people pushing us off our own land. What we did was we documented it. So this is an intellectual battle, you know. We also have to always carry a GoPro on you. Carry a GoPro on you all the time. Have it charged. You guys want to donate? Donate a GoPro to them. Batteries, solar chargers. You know, in case you don't have power, think of it off-grid. Because that's what we used out there. We're fully off-grid. You know, from communications to filming to charging our batteries to charging our cell phones. We're fully off-grid. Make sure you got cell service. If you don't got cell service, you got cell service out there? Yes. So you can easily go Facebook Live. Get them hotspots so they can broadcast. This is the most important part is you gotta really, our solution was using a crowdsourcing think tank. So you guys are that think tank right here. Right here. This is it. The phone recording right here. These are what we're gonna get multiple eyes on there out there. It's the think tank. Strategize. The more they know that's out there, Morton County knew every time we went live. So we started using intellectual lives, which I mean is like we go live and we weren't live. Because there's software that predates, it's what Hollywood uses. You know, so they show up and we just, okay, they're watching us. They show up crazy. They show up in packs. They show up, you know, scaring their own guys because they were bringing people in from all over the country, officers from all over the country, not bringing them up to speed. They were using fear tactics with their own officers. So a lot of them didn't have any clue what was going on. They just knew there was hostiles over there, you know. It was hostile. It was a hostile environment. And, you know, we kind of looked hostile, man. We didn't shower all week. And this was real, you know. It's like, so this is an intellectual battle. Can you imagine on the other side of the bridge where they couldn't see us, they raised the barricade this high, so the officers that were all lined up couldn't see us, and all they could hear was singing. That's got to be scary for them, hearing singing all night long, prayer all night long. It's powerful. On our side, it's beautiful. You know, having that all night long, no homelessness, you know, there was no hunger, but it's some spirituality there, traditional medicines that were coming from all over in 4 directions across Turtle Island. If you got sick, there was teas, and, you know, I mean, they could only assume what was over on our side. It was powerful, it was beautiful. Go to the dome and have a meeting and have song and prayer and laugh and joke, and, you know, we'd eat together. And we had a lot of vegans. We even had a lot of vegan food. Who's vegan? You know, it's a bad hunter for us. So I want to encourage you that technology was our what we used because they thought we were a bunch of Indians. They didn't realize that we had lawyers, PhD, doctors, scientists, you know, mathematicians. We had so much knowledge coming in, it was unreal. People coming in, our allies were fluent. Some of them were, and their backgrounds were mercenaries too. You know, a lot of the vets were mercenaries. I met several of them out there. You know, they came in and helped. They're like, we were fighting for oil on that side, and that wasn't what we're supposed to be there for. This is what we're supposed to be fighting for on this side. This is right. And that's what's powerful is hear these stories from so many different people and coming in and why they're coming in and what they're bringing to the table and what does it mean to be an ally too. Get that one down, because you know you may have someone come in as an ally and they don't want to leave, they're homeless. So come self-reliant. Make that clear. Come self-reliant. Be able to take care of yourself, not a burden to the cause. So there's a lot we gotta learn. Pick the water protectors' brains that were out there. What did they learn from the cops? Articulate, know the law, reasonable suspicion. What is your rights in New York? You know, do you have the right to film? Do you have consent? Do you need my consent to film? Know your rights, know your laws, know the policies in place. Those are how you're gonna get through that and prepare and be way ahead, because it's an intellectual battle. Let them incriminate themselves. It's not about the ego part. I would just let them incriminate themselves because they thought we didn't know. And I caught them on Facebook Live, still in my drone, went worldwide. Went in my vehicle with an illegal search and seizure. No warrant, lied about the warrant live. You know, we're way the hell out there. Anybody, you guys see that? You know, I was able to charge him, and I got the, you know, the charge as well. Went to jail for it. They were picking out media, so you've got to get smarter. And I'm really telling you, wear GoPros. So you guys got an old GoPro. Make sure you get them a battery, battery pack, solar panel, solar chargers, so we can plug in and have enough to go full 10 hours. That's the solution, and you'll make it. But you should be at the United Nations every single day, or when they open up, be right in there. Hand out some flyers. Here's what's going on. Here's what we need. You know what the problem is, right? It's pipeline. Solution, and what's the action? When we get there, then what? Do we need a tent? You know, do we need our own sleeping bag? Is there mosquitoes like down in Florida? You know, so those are the things that we think about now as water protectors. And it's so important. Do you have sandy huts? Is it compost toilets? We had compost toilets out there. Negative 40. Who's been at negative 40 before? Yeah. You can't get warm anywhere. You gotta snuggle. So these are the things that, you know, we strategize together. We come together, do it in a good way, laugh, enjoy, empower each other, and protect the Mother Earth. And you can't go wrong. It's beautiful. So I applaud you for staying over there. We heard about it. You know, we know what's going on as many pipelines as I got. I've only been gone about a month, a little over a month from Standing Rock. When I left Standing Rock, I was standing there flying the drone doing one last flight, and I saw the mercenaries going across. And it went half a mile down. I had to go get it because I was pushing the battery. And I walked down to go get it, and that's when I noticed all of them were moving. Well, there was a snatch and grab, which means that the snowmobiles will come up and just extract you. You know, and Fixco is one of the brothers that got extracted. Outside of this, they came, jumped off the snowmobiles into his vehicle, busted out all his windows and extracted him. Took him across the other side. You know, Black Ops style. And I realized I was alone, and for the first time I realized there was no water protectors. They were all gone. All the camps were gone. The only one was there was Cheyenne River, and no one knew where I was, because I usually kind of do my own thing when I go across, because I don't want anyone else to, you know, incriminate them in anything that I do. Don't break the law, just break all the rules. And I got the drone and came back, and I was thinking, damn, if they chase me, I'm not gonna make it out. So I just kind of cruised, you know. And as I was cruising along, I seen an abandoned snowmobile. Man, this thing was nice, you know. And I was thinking, someone ran out of gas. You know, there was a lot of things going on that time of when they came through the camp, you know, 2 weeks prior to that. But so much unity came out of that. You guys see it online, worldwide message. People in many languages know about the unity, and they're now water protectors. Unity that came together with all indigenous people from all four directions, all our allies. So much healing came in that we needed from this country. It may not have been from the right people, but the right people did come. We wanted to hear it from the government if the right people came. And that's what's beautiful. It's like, man, you got so much support you don't even know. So I would say create a booster campaign for a t-shirt. So when people make donations, they get a shirt. And you can go $20 up to $50, whatever you want. Create a design. Everything's on there is the logo. Those are the solutions to send funding out, so your people can get a shirt and sport your logo or whatnot on there. And man, good luck, you know, and strategize and make sure you wear that GoPro though. Yeah. And go live.
ABS.
Yeah, give it up for Myron Dewey. Myron Dewey. Thank you for all your service to the people, for real. I'm just gonna sing one last song before we head out, and I think it's the song that got this thing happening. It's that All Nations Rise, and it's just something that I think what I'm trying to express in this song is that there's three main elements to walking in the way of our ancestors. And I'm just going to put this out there, you know. You can decide for yourself if you agree or not. But number one is prayer, right? We originate through prayer. Our movement originates from prayer. We don't do movement first and then pray. We pray first and see what the answer is, and then do movement. But that prayer to guide the movement. The second is women's leadership. A lot of what I think made Standing Rock special is LaDonna's leadership and Cheryl's leadership, and a lot of our women who tried to keep the peace there. And that kind of is related to the third point, which is our ancestors, not all of them, but many of them were nonviolent. There's a few examples, but one is Tall Bull, who was a Cheyenne chief during the Sand Creek Massacre. And he refused to fight that day. And some might say, oh, he's a bad warrior, he let his women die. But that expression of nonviolence that day, and their leadership and their refusal to fling bullets back, showed the world what the American government was really all about. And Sand Creek Massacre was a pivotal moment in relations with indigenous peoples. And my elder says that because of Tall Bull's allegiance to nonviolence is the only reason there's any Cheyenne blood left on the planet, because that changed everything. And they went from termination, or rather extermination of Native peoples, to assimilation. And don't get me wrong, assimilation sucks too. That's why I can't speak Navajo right now fluently. But it is better than being massacred. And now we need to move it one step further. Instead of assimilation, we need celebration. Celebration of our cultures, celebration of our languages, celebrations of our ceremonies, and celebrations of our paradigm. And so this elder also told me that what's more important than the outcome of your battle is how you fight your battle. And this is a strange concept for many of us who are taught, get the outcome by any means necessary. Get the outcome by cheating people, raping people, as our brother was talking about the U.S. Army and what they're willing to do in the Middle East. It breaks my heart because I have a lot of love for our Muslim brothers and sisters, a lot of love. But that this is a whole new way of seeing victory. And this elder said, Lila, your prayers are to help your people see that there is a victory beyond the paradigm that was dictated for them by those who sought conquest. There is a victory for us beyond the paradigm that was dictated for us by those who sought conquest. In other words, the ones who sought conquest said, this is what victory looks like. You mow down the people with Gatling guns and you put a flag in the ground. But our people say that is the most profound loss you can ever commit. As if you commit violence, you've already lost the most important battle. And that's the battle of remaining connected to Creator, which is love. And people also say the Jewish, they're just bad warriors, they let their women die. But would we really remember the Jewish the way we do in the Holocaust if they had been violently rebelling? No, we recognize that we see clearly who was in the wrong. And it's tragic that we have to remain nonviolent in the face of that violence, but it is the truer way than to react with violence. And so in many ways, I believe what our brother Two Clouds has said about us being the lightning bolts that scare the snake away. In so many ways, we have already won. And when they were pulling people out of Standing Rock camp, a lot of us, we declared victory. And people are like, how can you say you got victory? You didn't stop the pipeline. They're pulling your people out. I said, no, you don't understand true victory. The truest victory is that you remain in your prayer, you remain nonviolent, and you remain unafraid. And we did all those things. And because we did those things, we have changed the way the world thinks about water. And as my Ina Cheryl says, they actually have sparked a movement across the world. And there's so many ways that we won in the Standing Rock battle. We brought things together that have never been unified. We brought veterans together with peaceniks. We brought Christians behind Native peoples, and they burned the doctrine of discovery in our sacred fire. You know, we had so many victories at Standing Rock. And so the day that they drug us out, you know, we claimed victory. And so I just wanted to share that. And that's sort of what I think this song is about. And my drum's totally flat. It's from New Mexico. It doesn't know about this place. Maybe you could turn up the volume and put a little reverb on it, a little delay. Can you do that, Sam? Oh, mic check 1, 2. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's better. Indigenous people, shine your light, we are equal, yeah, yeah. I remember the days when our prayers were illegal. I remember the days when being Indian was lethal, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had a rough past, but get ready for the sequel. Get ready for the glorious comeback of a people, oh yeah. Rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart, can you feel it in your blood? I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. All nations rise, rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. With forgiveness as my bow and my prayers as my arrows, pull it back and let go. I watch them fly like sparrows. Have hope, have hope. With compassion as my shield and faith down to my marrow, I will walk the pollen path even when it gets narrow. Yeah, yeah, I resurrect. Yes, you can bet that we've seen the single mama raising children on the res. We've seen domestic violence tear apart what we have left. We've seen the alcohol take it all and leave us dead. We've seen the children take their lives when they can't take the dread anymore. No, we can't take the dread anymore. Oh, no, I won't take the dread anymore. No, I won't take the dread anymore. Oh, yes, it's a war, but we've seen it all before, and now we know we can change it, 'cause that's why we were born. We know we are the ones that we have been waiting for. Yeah, we are the ones that grandma has been praying for. So rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart, you can feel it in your blood. I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. This next verse is in Spanish because I want to honor our Mapuche relatives whose textiles we're wearing. I want to honor the Raramuri of Chihuahua. I want to honor the Nahuatl, the Maya. I want to honor all of the indigenous tribes that are south of this imaginary border that divides a continent that was once very much connected. Pueblo hermoso, levántanse, es nuestro tiempo. No tienes que esconderte más, porque ahorita es nuestro tiempo. Mujer indígena, tú eres tan sagrada y traigas medicina de tu suelo todavía, a pesar del abuso de tu cuerpo y tu tierra. Yo respeto tus ancestros y la suya cultura, hombre indígena. Tú eres honorable y yo veo la fuerza que todavía sobrevive a pesar del abuso de tu raza venerable. Yo respeto tus ritos, tus danzas, tus padres. All nations rise, rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. Yeah. When you clap, I know you're clapping for Creator, because it was only 6 years ago that I was like strung out on drugs, barely able to do my own laundry. And it was Creator who helped me stand up again. You know, he said, stand up, brush that dust off your shoulder, put your shoulders back, we got other plans for you. I said, all right, let's do it. I'd rather do that than what I'm doing now. But they say that history is written by the victors. But how can there be a victor if the war is not over? We're all standing here today. We're all breathing. We're all praying. We're all communing. And it is clear that the battle has only just begun. And that Creator at this time is sending their best warriors to the planet at this time. And I see them when they're going across in a baby stroller, and you look in their eyes and you're like, dang, that was powerful. And I see them all right here too. And it's just so clear that we are deeply engaged in this battle. And yet we see that this battle is not going to be won with brute force. This battle is not going to be won by giving in to the conquerors or the ones who sought conquest, giving into their definition of victory. It's not going to be won by shooting them down and burying them 6 feet under with their faces down so their stories die with them, the way they did to the bards of Scotland. That's not how the battle is going to be won. This time the battle is going to be won with a deeper force. As Martin Luther King said, with a certain fire that no water hose can put out. And this fire is the fire of truth, the fire of compassion, and the fire of faith. And together, if we carry these weapons with us, and we remember that this is our strength, is our humility, and yet our fierceness mixed together, and our unwillingness to waver, that this is how we will win this battle. It's the only way it's ever been won. And so thank you all so much for standing with me today and standing with our relatives. And please just give yourselves one last round of applause for being here. And have a wonderful night. I'm selling my CDs for however much you want to pay for them. They're right there.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Another song.
You want to hear another song?
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on what people want to do. If people want another song, you want to get going. Okay.
Has it got that song on there, that CD?
Yeah, just for you. Okay, I'm glad some people asked me to sing one more song. If you need to go, feel free. I don't want you to. It's like a sweat lodge in here. Dang! Stop pouring so much water on those rocks. I'm really glad you asked me to sing another song because I really wanted to sing this song, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's all late. Maybe a little more volume on the guitar, a little more volume, a little more volume, a little more volume, a little more volume, a little more. That's good. Thank you. So as Two Clouds was saying, and as I was saying, I actually have some European blood in me. And for a long time I was taught to deny that. It's like, oh, those Europeans, those meanie heads, those colonizers. And so I was like, oh no, I'm not European, I'm just Navajo, you know. But I started to do some research and I started to see some really interesting parallels between what happened in Europe and what happened in this continent. And one of those parallels is language prohibition. In the 1920s, actually, you could get a big block of wood tied around your neck for speaking Welsh in the classroom. And the only way you could get this block of wood off your neck is if you found another kid speaking Welsh. And then you would transfer it over. And so we as Native Americans, we know very much how that's like to be shamed and humiliated out of your own language. And there's a reason to prohibit these languages because they contain the antidote to hierarchy. They contain the antidote to slavery. And the slave masters don't want that. And so the other parallel is epidemics, right? If we look here in the United States, about 98% of the peoples were decimated, mostly through diseases, right? And this is from the fear. People say it's a virus. No, the virus is just a manifestation of the fear. It's the fear that gets us sick. If we don't have fear, we don't get sick. Hard not to have fear sometimes. And in Europe, 2/3 of the people died in a very short amount of time. And this was called the Black Plague, right? And this was when colonization was sweeping across Europe. And then you also have the similar treatment of women, right? Because in the United States, they tried to destroy the women. They knew if they could destroy the women, you know, that's why the army says, rape the women. Because they know that if you can take out the women, you can take out the whole society. If you can make the women hate themselves and blame themselves for that, it's all over. And so that's why we as women need to know that rape doesn't change us. It doesn't make us less of a person. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form diminish us. And so in that regard, they also did the same thing to the women of Europe. Did you guys know that 6 to 8 million women were persecuted as witches in the first and second millennium? This means they were burned alive, drowned alive, dismembered alive, raped, beaten, tortured in torture chambers. 6 to 9 million women, European women. And we wonder why Europe has so many issues. It's because we have trauma that we haven't addressed. Serious trauma. And so this song is dedicated to those grandmas. And now I no longer feel ashamed to be European. I see that my European ancestors were just perpetuating a cycle of violence that was done to them. They didn't forgive, they couldn't forgive. And they say if you don't forgive, you become the oppressor. And so how can you forgive your wife getting burned alive in front of you? It's hard. And I think Trump suffers from this syndrome. If he feels like he didn't protect his women, he didn't do a good job, that's the biggest thing that hurts the men, if their women get hurt. Makes them feel like they failed. And it has all kinds of negative consequences. And I think that when they see that, they think, wow, I have no worth as a man. So they try and find worth in other ways. Or maybe if I get a nice car, maybe if I get a yacht, maybe if I get a nice Russian wife, or 2, or 3. Maybe if I build a big tower and call it Trump Tower, maybe then I'll have some worth. But that tower does not in any way symbolize his power. It symbolizes his profound insecurity. Profound insecurity, we can all see that. And so in this manner, it didn't only destroy the women of Europe, it destroyed the men. And I deeply believe that the roots of patriarchy lie in the burning of these women. 6 to 9 million women that we have not addressed. We still make fun of them as witches. It's time to remind the people that they were not witches. They were the medicine women of old Europe. And they knew the spirits of the land, they knew the medicines of the earth, they knew the herbs that would heal. And they were called heathens, they were called pagans, they were called satanic. We know it's that like, right, as Native Americans. They name our most sacred sites Devil's Tower or Devil's Lake. These are not devil places. In our language, we call it Maniwakon, sacred waters. And so this is dedicated to those women of Europe so that we can all heal from that very old wound and remember who we are as Earth people. 6 million women thrown to the flames. The library is burning. I remember their names. The first colonization of the human race didn't happen in America. It happened in the place of Mom. Mother country, Maya Rosa, the people's land. Nasha Jemya, the people's soil. I hear you calling. We've been afraid to look at the past and see the truth that's there. But take my hand, let's walk the land. Yeah, you don't have to be scared. There's an ancient motherland that we have forgotten. Great-grandmothers burned at the stake for holding the earth in their hands, for holding the earth in their hands. Persecuted as witches, warlocks and killers. But these were no evil people. These were Europe's healers. These were Europe's healers. We are healers. Said we are healers. And this old heart of mine, it weeps away for all the ceremonies going up in flames. But feeling is healing, and this is how we wash away the pain. Yes, feeling is healing, and this is why we remember their names. Feeling is healing, and these tears are falling like rain. So let it rain on this land. My mother's medicine lives in the earth, rising from the ashes as we remember. I can hear her songs running through my veins as my brothers glow on embers of old barn stories. Old barn stories. I will place my feet in the Tuscan streams and honor the ancestors that live inside of me. Yeah, live inside of me. Yeah, live inside of me. Yeah. The other night we were on tour and this guy was like, knew how to sing in Gaelic, and he sang in Gaelic right here. It was so cool. I was like, oh my god, it's so real. Honor what lives inside of us. I think that whole forgiveness thing is kind of important because, you know, we don't like forgive. We're just walking balls of hatred, which I have been for a long time. And, you know, that's all right. And forgiving doesn't mean what happened is okay. What it means is you decide to respond to hatred with love, and that you are going to pray for the best for the ones who wished on you the worst. That's what forgiveness is. And through that alchemical process, it's not for the person you're forgiving always. Sometimes the person you're forgiving doesn't even know you forgive them. It's for us. It's for our hearts. It's for us to be lifted so that we can continue fighting with a heart full of light instead of a heart full of pain. And this is how I think one of the major tools of our battle is going to be from here on out. And so anyways, Jasmine, you want to say any final words? How should we end this? Should we get in a circle? Should we, yeah, let's get in a circle.
Let's get in a circle.
Yeah, circle.
All right. And we're praying, guys. I'm getting off. Say goodbye to Julie. Bye, Mr. Julie. Rolling in place.
Yeah, we got
Tim, Mike.
say goodbye.
Oh, wait. I want to say goodbye to digital smoke signals, too.
Bye.
Bye.
Double bye. Double bye.
Bye, Inspire. Still got the real people here. We still got them. All right.